There you go.
Reason, you know why they're doing that? Like open it for a second. So basically when they connect it, because the hose is sitting around, there's like some air inside of it. So when you connect it, so the refrigerant could go through nicely into here without air, you just loosen it and then the air leaves. So that way it's just refrigerant.
So next person wants to do it?
So it's going from here. It's gonna go from here to here. Still leaking a little. From here, then because it goes like this, and from the middle port to inside this unit, and then it goes throughout here, and out here to here.
Cylinder.
So for every one of those lines, they got air in it. So you gotta open when you open it, it's gonna pull refrigerant through here.
Just gotta do it on this side as well.
So you're gonna go like this. That's it. All the air is gone. Then it's gonna go here. Open it. Yeah, you do it for like a second. Loosen it and then tighten it when you hear the
Other way.
Yeah, you do a little more.
Oh,
That's good.
So now you gotta open this line up. So open this line up because it's closed.
Now the refrigerant's over here. It's sucked all the way through.
Open this, right? So you can open this from here if you want.
Can this be done if we just do the end of the line?
Some recovery machines don't have
Everything's
everything
ready.
right now.
This is open. So it's going here. It's open here, so it's going through here. This is open. It's going through here to here. So now when we want to recover, it's going to go right into the tank.
You have a refrigerator inside this tank. So, actually those.
This one too?
Backseat on the machine.
You gotta be careful not to backseat it all the way because
So just don't want to take it out.
So we backseat both of them?
No, just backseat them. That's enough. Okay, so if I open this tank, see how the pressure is starting to change? Because the pressure in the tank is higher than the pressure in the machine. So refrigerant is actually going into the machine. Okay, I don't want that. Yeah. So that's the difference between charging and recovery. Charging, I'm putting from the tank into the machine. Recovering, I'm taking out. Okay, in order to recover, since I can't turn the compressor on, I have to use this and make sure that this valve is closed. If I open this, refrigerant is going to spray out. Okay, if I run this machine with the discharge closed, the machine can't run like that, so it's going to turn itself off. If I run the machine with this tank closed, the pressure can build up. So sometimes you run it, machine turn off, it's like what's going on, and I open the tank.
And how come he can't turn on the compressor while it's recovering?
Somebody remove the
Oh, okay.
So I can actually see here, look, look here. So actually, they actually pulled out the whole control thing.
Okay.
Completely rewire that. So that'll be another project we'll do. But for now, we just want to recover, and then we're going to braze our stems. So we'll practice brazing with some plumbing, and then we'll everybody, you know what?
so you want us to recover. All right. So open up and turn on the machine.
Now, after we do that, get the scale. So you're supposed to We just did a field trip in the building where they're like, you're charging this thing up every couple of weeks with like 200 pounds of refrigerant. You're supposed to, well, you're supposed to take a reading every time you charge the machine, every time you recover. You're supposed to know how much you're adding, how much you're taking out. So our scale, so it's telling me my controller's on, my scale is on, and they're synced up. Now, you want to make sure your scale is level, and it's saying 0. So I hit clear, and then I put my tank on. So it's gonna be like 20 something pounds, 24, 25 pounds. And then I'm gonna clear it.
Yeah. Put it on the floor?
Yeah. All right. Yeah, you can put it on the floor. Okay. So when you recover, if it's at 0, then it will say how much you're pulling out, putting it into the tank, and then you can make a note. I recovered this much or I charged that much. So that's good. Now, how far do we want to go down? You want to go into as deep a vacuum as you can. Go 10 inches, 15 inches. Just let it run until you go deep.
So is the ideal 29 or 29.95?
If you can get that. So we already know those valves are leaking.
So you won't be
you're not
able
going to get that. Sometimes you can only get to 0, but you just want to make sure you recover until it goes as low as it can go. You have the majority of the refrigerant out.
All right.
So they start pulling from the discharge line first, or
Everything. You pull
all everything?
Yep. If you just pull from one side, it's going to be slow. So you don't pull as fast as possible. Talk about what's emerging. Talk about what you're seeing.
So with so what you were saying before, right? Let's say we could turn the compressor on. You still need a recovery machine to recover because it needs to suck it all through. Okay. You can't just go from the middle port of the gauge to the tank. It won't be enough to get it in there. So like let's say a heat pump, right? So when you plug it into a heat pump, if the compressor can turn on, you still need a recovery machine. So that is because the refrigerant, the compressor needs the refrigerant to keep it at a certain temperature. That's why their compressor burned out, you think? If they weren't.
We're sucking all the refrigerant out and we're putting it inside the cylinder. So now we're trying to look for a vacuum.
Actually doing it, right? Because they say a lot of stuff about. It saves money too.
Yeah.
That refrigerant, you can use that refrigerant again.
So right now we're at vacuum. So we're shooting for 10. Okay.
If I close these valves, the pressure is going to go back up. It's still refrigerated. Pressure just went right back up. It's still refrigerated. That's why you got to keep going, keep checking, make sure you get all that refrigerant. Because if I disconnect you, if I say, okay, I'm at 0 inside, I disconnect, good oil. Feel it, it's a little slow. It's slow because right now I'm boiling the refrigerant. As the pressure drops, it is boiling the refrigerant inside the oil. So any liquid that is in there is boiling. That's why the temperature is. Because I'm boiling it. That's why you run your recovery machine as long as possible to boil the refrigerant out of the oil. It's the same reason if I'm evacuating. If I'm using my vacuum pump, I'm trying to boil the moisture out. But right now, I'm trying to boil the refrigerant out. If I close this, it will go right back up. Go right back up. Because there is still refrigerant in the oil. So I'm running it as long as I can. Now, if I can get it down to 10 inches and it stays at 10 inches, I'm okay. But if it doesn't, there is still refrigerant in the oil. I have to boil refrigerant out of the oil. That's my big thing, guys. You gotta talk about all this stuff. And what people understand, here's about refrigerant, that's a machine. Evacuated, pressure tested. They're replacing 100 pounds of refrigerant like every week.
It's like $5,000. Oh yeah. That's true.
Every time they charge you $15,000 for the refrigerator, not even the labor.
Want to close it to see if it how the trick. Question. So when we close the valve, she doesn't vacuum go.
It's just on this side.
Yeah,
When you close it, I'm just measuring this side.
that's why. That I couldn't understand because it should be a better vacuum in here than it is in here.
Yes,
So,
yes.
okay. So
If I
there's
put
a
another
this
gauge over here, that would be in a vacuum.
Okay.
But at the same time, when the discharge side, you feel it, it's warm. Because it's discharging from the compressor and the condenser here, there's a lot of refrigerant here. You'll see, this is why I don't like using really long hoses, because when we take that off, there'll be refrigerant everywhere.
I don't know that we can pull from the both sides. I thought you need to start with vapor first and
So if you take a machine that has TV,
right here.
so if you have a TV, sometimes they close. If you have a solar way, sometimes they close. But with this, it's open on both sides. So even if I close this, and I'm recovering from one side, it's just pull from one side to the other. So I just pull from both sides and make it quick. So if the cylinder is closed, you do both sides. Because in the compressor has a valve. The compressor valve is closed. So if anything closes on the liquid line, you have to close both sides. Okay, so assume we're good here. So this is the thing, right? While this is running, I'm trying to make sure there is as little refrigerant in the hose as possible, right? So what I want to do, I close here, and then I close here, and then I close here. There's still refrigerant in it. Can I look? There's a lot of refrigerant. Okay? So what you have to understand is this has a condenser. That's why you have these vents here. There's a condenser coil. The compressor sucks the refrigerant out, but then it condenses it. So this is filled with liquid. The reason why I put it on this is the gas side. It's the liquid side, it's the gas side. Because there's a dip tube here. If I put it on this side, the pressure is gonna push even more liquid in it. So when I recover to the vapor side. If I'm charging 410A, I'm charging from the liquid side.
Wait, can you say that again? That last part you just said about
The liquid has a dip tube. So there's liquid in here right now, but it's not as much. If I connect it here, show you this. That's closed. See the difference?
Yeah.
So when I'm recovering to the vapor side because I don't want this hose to be filled with liquid. Because when I take the hose off, then it's liquid everywhere, right? And again, our thing is we're trying to protect the environment. Okay, so well, so the thing with that, right? This refrigerant is not won't kill you immediately unless two things, right? If I open this tank, no, it'll asphyxiate you because it's heavier than air. That's number one. Second thing is if it gets above 800 degrees because it's nerve gas, and that will kill you dead. Right. Okay, so that's why you have to be aware of all this stuff. Now, there is refrigerant inside of here, inside the coils. So just look at this line. So I just sent refrigerant from the internal recovery machine, and it's liquid. Okay. This is why I keep telling you, you got to practice. Because when you're doing this stuff, when you're working on a machine that has hundreds, guys, I was at the Rockefeller Center. Their recovery tanks held 19,000 pounds of refrigerant, and they had two. So you're talking about 40,000 pounds of refrigerant. And the procedures are exactly the same. As a matter of fact, the school that we went to, next time we go, we're taking gauges. We're putting gauges on those machines. But it's exactly the same. You have to understand how this stuff works. Okay? So what I want you guys to do, number one, look here at our scale. We can see it's saying it's fluctuating a little bit, around 13 ounces. So it's a little less than a pound. These machines generally have a little less than a pound. So that's how much we recovered. But we lost some of that because it's in the hose and the purge and all that stuff.
So the refrigerant inside here, let's say you just disconnect everything. Could there still be refrigerant inside there?
There is. That's why we're closing this.
Okay.
So what we're going to do, right back to where we were. Shut down. So check this out. Here's the thing, right? Machine is right back there. It's back at zero, which is what? Which is atmospheric pressure. Why is it atmospheric pressure? Because it's impossible because of these.
The leak.
There's air getting sucked in. Same way refrigerant was coming out, there's air getting sucked in. So it's impossible for us to recover it below atmospheric pressure. So we'll just keep this closed because we don't want to keep putting air in our tank. But let's imagine that. Finish our recovery the same way I just showed you. So that we can shut everything down. Got that? We got to go and shut down. So finish up your recovery. The same way I just showed you. Turn it off the machine. Yep. Close this one. Okay. Close what? Close the tank. Close the tank. Yep. Yep. There you go. Okay. Now there's still refrigerant in that hose, but it's not as much as it would be. So now
We minimize it. This
Exactly.
is the minimum that we can.
that's it. So I'm trying to minimize, because sometimes if I'm working on a machine that if it has 100 pounds of refrigerant, I can put that refrigerant back. So I'm trying to minimize the loss of refrigerant so I can put most of it back. Okay, so then we're going to disconnect. Yeah. So as you can see, because I'm going to the vapor valve, there's not as much liquid as it would be if I was on that liquid valve. If I was on that liquid valve, like literally, there'd be refrigerant spray all over.
Wow.
And when you see mist, it's not refrigerant, it's oil, because we're recovering oil as well. And here's the thing, right? We don't really care right now because we know it's leaking.
Yeah.
But if I come along, let's say if this wasn't a vacuum, if I come along and I pull that, guess what? I just suck air into the machine. We don't care right now. But if I did, then I would want to make sure that I front seat. So if this isn't a vacuum or if it has refrigerant, and I front seat, then I can take my hose off. So it's, you always have to understand this flow of refrigerant. Where is it going? Where is it coming from? Is it safe? Because if it's refrigerant, let's say if I use this and I'm charging refrigerant up and I come along and I disconnect, boom, refrigerant on my face. Okay, and 410A, if it's under pressure, it's coming fast. Okay, so we're gonna disconnect everything. Then we're gonna do some cutting, cleaning pipe. We're gonna practice some brazing. I'm gonna show you guys how we're gonna practice it with tape pressure readings on the brazing that we do. And then we'll see if we can braze these things 1 year before the end of the day. Okay, so we'll just put that on the side and I'll show you that.
So Taurus, let's say you have a recovery machine that you're about to use for a job. And like, so
Is
you,
there refrigerant in there?
so you'd have to like
So
before,
what happens sometimes when I'm here and nobody's around, sometimes I'm doing the systems. What that might mean is I might take one recovery machine and recover from that into a tank. So
but
there's a
first
way
you
to
gotta
do that.
check your pressure to make sure you know what kind of refrigerant's in there.
Most of the times we're doing 14A, but you know, if when we were going to the spot had R22.
Hmm.
So what I did was I cleaned out a tank.
You want to go back to fitting like the hoses or?
What clean out a tank or clean out one, even a gauge. Evacuate, but I can also put nitrogen through it. So nitrogen will blow out a lot of stuff, and then I put it in the bottle and try to produce so much. It's not even so much the refrigerant as much the oil. You really don't want to mix different refrigerant oils, because if I have a 410A system and I connect to a 122 system, and that oil that's there, it just funny things start to happen.
Okay,
That's really what we're trying to do.
wow.
Okay, so what we're gonna do next, we're gonna braze some caps into some pipes. Basically, kind of like what we did here. So you see here, we have a straighter, so this is stem with a straighter valve. We took the pin out because if you put heat on it, it'll melt the pin. So we're gonna make some kind of like a pipe bomb, I guess. We're gonna take some plumbing pipe, we're gonna cut the ends, we're gonna put the caps on the ends, we're gonna braze those on. You're gonna have to drill a hole, cut this off, and we'll put that in the hole and braze that on there, and then we'll take pressure tests to see if it holds. So we charge nitrogen in it, put it into water, see if there's any bubbles, you see if there's if the pressure. So cutting. So we're gonna take some pipe.
No, it's not what it is. That's something on
So
Earth
I
or in
think
the sky
we were
or
practicing
in
the
the
other
sea.
day. So with these have rollers. So I'll put this on here. I'm not going too tight. I just want it to be tight enough so that I can make a groove. So I'm actually going to leave this because we can actually unsweat that, which means heat it and take it off. We got to do that later. Okay, so from here, you just spin so I can make a little groove. Make a little groove, tighten it. And as I'm spinning, I'm tightening, deepening that groove. Hammer cloth, the strip. Gee, do you have I don't know, what do you say?
I'm gonna look for.
No, we have the plumbing. They have the gray brushes where it has the two holes in it. Don't worry about it. No, they can so they don't make this for AC line. So you do this. Sweat. Hurt anybody? Okay. So I'm gonna clean it as much as possible. Where's the caps? So the good thing about brazing is you don't have to use any type of, at least this type of brazing. They actually have flexible brazing, but we're not going to use it here. And it should be able to just fit. Right? What happens sometimes, some people, when they're doing this, they squeeze it so much that it presses it, forms it so it's not a circle. So if you do that, your caps won't be able to fit. Okay? So what I want you guys to do, cut like 6 inches and then clean both sides, put caps on both sides, and then we're gonna braze it.
All right.
Oh, I think we're doing
You can use this one.
all of this together?
Yeah, you can do it together. You said like 6 inches, so you can cut like right here, something like that. Not too tight. There you go. We'll check something. I'll be right back. Susan. You said I could give you that love that's perfectly inside.
Yeah, so basically,
Those are yeah. Raise it, put the wall, so, and we just.
we're gonna charge you with nitrogen.
You don't have to cut that.
Yes.
You're gonna cut it?
No, we have to do it like that.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So if you want to pay yours.
What?
Take this off, right?
Yeah. So, right? You want to be careful, you don't want to make your hole too gigantic, but then it.
Good.
So once we
Okay, so we just.
Once we have our pipe. Let's say if I make the hole too small. So number one, don't drill too fast. You see the copper that's building up there? If I was doing that on that machine, then I'd be sending that material in there. So I want to try and go slow. Okay, just like that. Okay. Let's say if my hole is too small, it just needs to be big enough for me to get my reamer in. So then I can
Work it.
to make the hole bigger. That's still kind of. Yes. Let's cut that off there, please. Yeah, so we just want our hole to be big enough to get our. Produce a table.
I'm out of the
The pipe is perfect.
Yeah.
Body, right? Perfect. Will I be able to cut it with this or?
No, go ahead, you're done, you're done, you're done. Let's continue, sorry, let's continue, you're done. You're almost, you're like 2 centimeters.
2
off.
centimeters?
Yeah, not much.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, so you look here, you can see it's a bit rough. So I can even green this. Outside, I take some of that material off so I can be as long as possible, so that I can try to get it into whatever size opening you have. Now, you don't want the hole, if the hole is way too big.
Right here. Want me to get that?
So the problem with having the hole too big is it becomes hard to get the stem to stand up straight. It is done. Jeez. Oh, God.
It's a little crooked than this.
This is like,
Yeah, no.
So let's say it's a hole big. When I put my stem inside. Oh,
Can you use the vice behind you? With the vice. It's safer, not safer.
I just wanted to fit just inside. Now, the hole is actually a little
Too
too
big.
big. Now, if you look in there, this is actually all the way down here. It's actually going to restrict the flow of the refrigerator. So what I have to do is maybe lean that a little bit so it doesn't fall all the way inside. So that's what I mean about just trying to make sure it's just big enough, just so I can get it in there without having it all the way down.
That's enough to put the hole, right?
Which one you use? You use the other bit, right? You got like that tiny little bit. You probably might use a bigger one anyway, but.
Use the vice.
The what?
Not safer, though, you could put that pressure.
Still a little too small, but. This thing.
I know it's actually the person that
What?
Now you want it to be inside, so you're gonna have to use that bit that he's got. There you go. Let me see. Yeah, this is the little piece you're gonna put in.
Yeah,
it's not
sturdy.
anchored
Yeah.
This one I think would work too. Yeah. Because you're gonna braise it. So. Clamp it on there. I was just looking.
You don't want to make it too wide.
Think so.
The bit needs to be smaller.
A little smaller.
Try the green one. The green one, the bit is.
This one, you can use this
Yeah.
one, Lorenzo.
And I made it a little bit.
You still using this, bro?
No, that bit is good. Is good enough.
Tight fit.
Yeah.
You see? Lorenzo, look, you see that's what you want. The tighter, the better. Not much. Which is good. Have to be straight. So if you do it crooked, then when you put this, you're gonna have a larger gap. You gotta make it the center. The center. Always try to drill when you can see. Drill like this. That's your bad. You could do that. Try to keep the drawers.
Still need to drill it
You
more.
can clean it.
Huh?
Try to clean it.
Yeah, clean it. Plug, let me get more. Yeah, it might- it really is.
Woo! These things working.
You said we can start brazing or we have to wait?
You know how to do it?
Huh?
You know how to braze?
Yeah.
I've done soldering.
Oh, now it's good.
Hmm?
This is good.
I've
now.
done soldering before, but basically I did last time.
It's way easier than
last time,
yeah, it's way easier than soldering. Soldering, you gotta make sure everything is clean. You gotta use the flex.
The cleaning part is.
Yeah.
So they sound like for electronics?
Kind of.
Plumbing. Plumbing.
Yeah.
Guys, it's still look electronic. That's be like, it's like be very precise and be very soft. And you break the whole thing, whole circuit. It's easy because this is more big.
Yeah. So are we allowed to solder or we have to wait?
You want to do the honor?
Just to braze it? Guess I'll.
You have everything here. Touch the. Touch the pipe here, center,
I'll do one.
and that way it's safer, and then it's arrive. Here.
All right, Lorenzo. I'm gonna braze the caps on. You done this? You never done this before, Lorenzo? Oh, you did? So you know how to do it already?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I think you should place it so you can. Both.
Say that again?
I think we should place it so you can raise everything at once.
Okay.
Because it's gonna get really hot and you cool it down. Place it, you know,
Yeah.
move it.
I think you can do it, Lorenzo. You remember how to do it, right? So you can go first.
Go ahead, start.
I think Lorenzo's gonna go first.
Okay, but I'm here. For this step,
Make sure, guys, make sure you remember the.
Schrader.
the Schrader.
Oh, you
How
have
you
one in
remove
there?
that?
There's like a tiny little piece there.
Where's?
Let's see if we can find it. Oh, that. The cap. Some of the caps have them. Come look, Lorenzo.
Right here, Lauren.
Also the cap had it?
That cap has it. Some caps don't.
About this? Both, right?
Yeah, but it doesn't have the little.
Needle.
It's like a. To show you. See that thing? It's easy. You don't have one inside here, so you don't have to worry about it. But you're gonna have to put one in after because you need it. It's like a little pin. You know, when you,
Keep it at the top.
yeah, he doesn't have it, but basically, can I see yours? So I can show Lorenzo. See this thing? So when you connect the hose, it like pushes this thing down. So that way the refrigerant goes through.
What makes it like a relief valve? Like, do not leak. When you connect, that's
Yeah,
when it leaks. I mean, when it opens.
yeah. So that goes in there just like that, and then you tighten
Like
it with
it's
this.
basically like a tire valve.
Yeah.
When you connect the air hose, then it opens.
missing it too. Okay, man.
First, I solved this, right?
Most things get lost.
I don't think it really matters.
Huh?
I don't think it really matters.
We gotta get one. I need to put it back.
It does.
Does it? All right.
I think you should do this one first, so that way it can be strong in there, and do the other one.
Should I like, I have this like coming out like this way for it could be more of a better angle for me?
What, this?
Yeah.
You could lift it up a little more.
Yeah, no, at an angle like this.
You could do that, yeah.
All right. So you have your rod ready, the drawing. That's the same thing.
Like I was gonna protect it.
Whatever
Come on, man.
whatever you
Your safety, man.
whatever you, I'm just saying, whatever you want. Hello.
So you could always check first here. So yeah, you do need to do that. So
Loosen it.
I open it now, so there's nothing going through. So you do gotta close it again.
Close it
No, it's closed now. I can open it there.
all the way.
Just a little bit more probably, and now you can check through here again. There you go. Now it's ready. Yeah. You can heat it up first. You got it. Yeah. So it turns like bright orange. You can put it directly on it. Now you gotta see it. You gotta see it get like really, really bright orange. No, it's not. It's not. You're gonna see it, bro. It's gonna be bright, bright, like the color of that bucket. That's what I was thinking too. Now you got some more. So let me show you here. Let me show you something. So just don't put the thing on it so it turns that color. Like you're gonna see it very, very hot. This if you get stuck. Does it be dark orange? It's gonna be bright, bright. You're gonna see. I'll tell you. Now you could probably put it on. You saw that? You saw how hot it was? There you go. I think that's it, man. Yeah, because there you go. Nice. Now what you could do is usually you have like a wet rag or something that you put on it. It's right over the bucket, so I'm just gonna.
Yeah, you can do that. But I poured some water on it. I'll put some more for you. That one's not the right kind of. That one could get burnt up. Oh, you did it with that kind?
We got to damp it very good.
Straight up.
I'm gonna put it right here.
Put it right here because you got to do the ends as well.
Oh, now we got the ends.
Yeah. Could I do inside real quick? I'll do that one, okay? Let me get the goggles. See that? You see how hot it is, Lorenzo? That's when you know it's ready. I didn't have to wait.
Dip it in the water. Clean it up. Down fast.
But you're getting water inside because of the pin.
Evaporate. Once you create a heat, it's gonna evaporate. This is done yet? No.
No.
Okay, it's gonna evaporate. It's gonna evaporate.
Okay.
It's just a heat.
Yeah.
That's very hot. Okay, go ahead.
You can do the rest, Lorenzo.
Shall I try this first? No.
The heat is gonna.
Evaporate.
So yeah, you can just leave it on there until it gets like that color, that bright.
You usually look for like cherry red, basically.
Yeah. You still gotta put the flame to it. That's good, probably right there. You see that? perfect color. You go real quick underneath too. That's good. I think you're good there. Because when it's very hot like that, as soon as you touch it up here, it goes like this around the edges, you know? In the bottom, it goes so.
You don't want to put too much heat, because then you're not.
Yeah, it can crack.
You have to, once you apply it, you're just gonna knock and run.
Someone try. Yeah.
I'll put it right here.
Pardon? For what? I think it, when you put it in the water, it's cooled down a lot. No. What you could do, try to find one of those pieces of straighter pin, because the reason why you take it out, that piece, because it has rubber in it. So if you were to be brazing with that piece, it would melt and it won't be able to use it. You won't be able to take a reading because the rubber would melt inside of it. It will mess it up. But a fine one. Huh? Yeah, it doesn't have the tap on it. Jason. These don't have one. How about these? Those probably, one in there. This, put that in there, and use this to tighten it. I think you're good now. I think you're good. No, they look, see, so yeah, like that. Yep. Tighten it up as much as you can. Yep. Got it. Huh?
That makes you,
Uh-huh.
when it gets stuck like that.
It needs more heat.
Huh?
Don't put any more off.
Yeah.
You put too much.
Yeah.
That's okay.
You ready?
That's the process of-
You got it? All right.
And,
You're good. You're good. You're good. So,
What's the point of that?
Got it?
point of what?
Só fina ainda.
Oh, well, you actually put that very far deep in there. Because that is what is used to take a reading when we do. Let's loosen it a little bit.
Still.
So when you put the hose in, it pushes down that pin a bit, and then it releases the refrigerant so you get the pressure of what's inside here. So now what we're gonna do, I believe, is put some nitrogen inside here, and then put it under water to see if it has a leak. So what you could do is get a hose. See that right there?
You know where the nipples are at?
There's some right here.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, we can get the gauge manifold. So,
Okay.
me?
Look nervous.
No, I'm not nervous.
All right, so
I saw your video the other day.
what video? I sent that to you?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Very long, right?
Yeah, refrain.
Everyone.
So which way does this go? It goes like this, right?
Cool.
Jesus coming soon, man.
Oh, you're talking to me?
I know, man. You're preaching to the choir.
The only fix one that
Okay. So, actually, no. So, I'm gonna put it through the low side. It's closed. Everything's closed. This is closed. Or else nitrogen will be flying everywhere.
Alright.
So this is not refrigerant.
Nitrogen. Thank goodness.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. No, so what to pay like a CFC fine for that, you know? That's no.
Is everything in here?
Fine for releasing CFCs in the air, and that could, you know, cause like
Whoever want them.
yeah, no, just get a fine. You don't want to get a fine, you know.
This feels weird.
Exactly.
I don't know.
It's a hole in it.
I don't think it's a hole, but
There you go, brother.
okay. So that's going into here. It's going into here. You gotta open this. It's already open. He said what? Yeah, there's nothing inside of it. So I'm gonna open it a little bit. This is closed. So when I open it, okay, that's nitrogen going through here. That's the pressure of the nitrogen.
No,
Okay.
I didn't get it.
So we're not gonna need that much.
No, it's correct, but I
Okay.
guess it's
So
not-
we're just
it's
gonna
screwed
open it a
on,
little
I think.
bit.
It's not supposed to be like that, right?
That's nitrogen going inside there.
Okay. There's gonna
I
be
guess that one
there's
doesn't
gonna be
take no
nitrogen. All
fitting.
this.
That's
We
why.
can take this off.
Upside down, bro.
Yeah,
No, that's right. You just gotta tighten it.
You can't go any.
Now we're gonna put this in water. We're gonna put it in water. To see if any bubbles show up. You feel it, how it feels a little different. Feels like there's something in there.
Yeah, bro, like, I was like, kind of like, my skin expanded.
Right here?
There you go.
No, that happened before. That's why I was seeing. It feels weird.
Yeah, I guess this one doesn't take it.
If you, maybe you have the wrong side. Maybe you took the wrong one. Yeah, I think you took the wrong one.
Now, if you look at it,
Well, we can spray it real quick.
Now they want to get over.
Yeah, not on him.
So I think it's good because so far there's no bubbles. Because there's a lot of pressure in here
I think
for this little thing.
I think this one doesn't take no valves down.
You removed it, sir.
No. Torres gave me this. We removed it from the one that we cut. Remember?
I don't see any bubbles.
But did you check if you have any sample?
So here,
No,
you
there
can
was no
see too if I
stems.
push it down.
Yeah, there was no stems in it.
Oh, it actually did.
Yeah, that one doesn't take no stems. Look, you can look. There's a groove in there. There's no groove in that one.
There's water in here.
Inside, you said there's a group, there's no.
You hear that?
There's no grooves.
Oh, man.
Sure.
Listen,
There is a tiny leak.
it's water.
What is it?
No, I think it was before maybe when we dipped it in there, a bunch of water got inside. You hear that?
Or put it in water to see if it leaks.
No.
It doesn't leak?
There's water inside.
I understand that. No, my question is, does it leak?
Sorry.
Does it leak?
Inside of this thing? No, I think.
Put it in water, put it inside, and let it drop, and see if it leaks. That's all. We're doing a leak test.
Well, the problem is that we
Put it
couldn't.
in water.
I think it had nitrogen before he brazed it, so I don't think there's a leak. I think what happened was when he brazed it, there was water inside it.
That's okay. We took him for leak only.
Well, the problem is we can't properly check for leaks. I don't think because we couldn't put nitrogen inside of it, you know, because there was water inside of
I
it.
understand that, but just check it for leak. If it bubbles, we check it for leak.
Filled like out with water.
It's definitely got a.
It's like all the way you think it is?
I don't know.
Let me see.
Yeah,
Go to this bubbled up.
Did it bubble? Did it bubble? No bubble? That means
Because this one has some water.
no, because that's the thing. It has water in it.
Yeah, it didn't.
It doesn't
It
matter.
didn't hold.
It
No.
doesn't
That's-
matter.
It didn't hold the nitrogen. The nitrogen can be pressurized inside here
Put it in
properly.
a vacuum though, in order to charge it with
Nitrogen. Little vacuum in here.
Yeah.
No. We always put nitrogen. We never put.
The thing is that if when he brazed it, if there was water inside of here, it's not supposed to be water inside of here when he brazed it. Because
You were cooling it down while they got it.
yes, but what happened is when we put it in the water to cool it down, water got inside of it. And so
Thank you.
that is not good because we have to punch. See.
You wanna.
So what we could do, because nitrogen can't properly be in here because of the water.
So we do this.
We're just gonna cut off the cap and take the water out.
Now it's back. It looks like that pipe looks flat.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. That's kind of strange. It definitely got crimped somehow. You know, I'll do the other side. This one is good. So yeah, that's not good, man.
Wow.
You can open it there. Hold on a second here. It does matter because when you have the, okay,
I disagree.
it's okay. It's okay. You can disagree.
That's what we do, nothing else.
So yeah. No, I think it's this hose because it's coming through the low side. Okay. Yeah, this one's closed. So when you open this, then it should go through.
to go see the tour before we're doing it.
Yeah, we could go see Taurus and Tahoe. See in the back? Who's in the office over here? He's in the back. He's in the bathroom. So you see that? As soon as it cracked,
Yeah.
water. So let's see. Huh?
We need to put the pin bar, the bottom of the pin on.
Oh. Well, what I believe is that when it has if it has water inside of it, the nitrogen, it can't hold the nitrogen because the nitrogen is just pressure. It's a gas.
We're looking for leak test. Yes.
Yeah.
When you put the pin, did you remove the pin?
What pin?
The pin that was in- on the snap?
You gotta leave the pin inside.
Correct, and you just go on.
Yeah. You just
You
the wrong hose.
didn't charge anything because you put on. Because you're not pushing the pin.
Huh? Yeah, I have a pin over here.
You're not charging it.
Because
That's why this hose is not pushing the pin. It's not pushing the pin down
okay.
so the air can go inside the system. It's okay, man. You can raise it.
Okay, yeah.
It's just practice. Are you okay, Lorenzo? Keep that in mind, Lorenzo. Keep that in mind that when you're doing this and you put the pin on, but you need to have this hole, a different hole. And down, so it's not going to go. This hole, the third one, in the middle, the thick one. This type of hole. Oh, okay. This type. Oh. This time, first of all, this has to be running in the middle. So, and then the other hole, the blue one. Then I have this. So, it's not like color coded, but.
This one's broken.
But like, yeah. And even though it's not, you know.
So you could check if it has nitrogen by just
Bang, no airtight. Go ahead, Lorenzo. You want to do this?
Did I see that?
Chris.
You did get nitrogen inside there.
So the reason I got nitrogen because.
The right hose.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you didn't have anything. So let's see how much.
Huh?
What is it then?
You have to.
All right, so let's do this. I'm a little bit.
Yeah, so when I did was 17.8 and you released a little bit, so now it's
Glasses, just put on my glasses.
I would have done it for you, man.
Oh, you gotta take hold on. You gotta take this out. You gotta take out that pin out of there. Can't have that in there. So you gotta take the little piece. Hopefully it didn't get burned. I don't think it did. Maybe it did though. Yeah, I think you should do the one that that it should be open.
Right?
Yeah, it's open. It's pressure going through. You
That's
could open
right.
it more and more and more, but I don't think you need to.
Correct. But this is open.
Okay, wait. Now it's all right. What did you, okay.
But you don't need that much probably going through there. So the more you tighten it, I think it's like now it's
Oh,
going
no,
up.
no, no, okay, you need to,
Go this way, it goes up.
okay. Perfect.
Let's see if it the big one. I don't know. Let's see if it got burned. I think we might have to just. What you could do is just use the guy that left. He used his to put nitrogen in it.
It came out.
Huh?
It came out.
Yeah, it came out, but so it might be okay, but no, I didn't get burned. I don't think so. It's good.
Pressure different now.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's got pressure in there. He's got nitrogen in there.
No, it's not it. Just done? Or just done?
You can use this guy's. What was his name? Jason, right?
Is this?
Yeah.
So, continue working?
No, you don't have to.
But, bro.
Uh-huh.
This?
Yeah, I know, but we're gonna use this guy's. You could if you want to.
Oh, no, I know. Yeah. I'm just trying to-
That guy's, something was wrong with his stem, I think. Doesn't let you put one in. What?
Fire the Holy Ghost.
That little thing? I don't know. You can check, you could just, what you do is you just, you have it plugged in right here. You close this all the way.
Let me build up. I told you. Oh, it's moving. That means it's a lot of pressure on that. See how much of that? Dwayne, you could put it again in the water and see if you test it.
I think that's the pressure inside there. 270 inside that little thing. That's why if you push the pin, it's gonna
Put it in water. Probably goes into the restroom with his computer. I'm like,
You put the piece, the tip on the thing.
yeah.
No balls.
Not yet.
So, question, the nitrogen tank,
What about it?
how do you properly use it?
Bring tank over there? So, same thing we would do. Okay, so a couple of things. See? All right, so we got our Schrader pen.
There's nothing in there.
That's fine.
this is under pressure.
Yeah. Okay, so there's pressure in the hose because of the pin. All that's nitrogen, so it's tight.
It's not that doesn't hit the nitrogen.
Nitrogen. It was just in the hose.
So
Just in the hose.
it's better to respond that way.
Good. So,
You get me? You don't take it
so
for
the
granted.
pin here should press the
Not
pin
the
there.
wrong one.
So the other hose wouldn't push through the pin, right?
Huh?
The other, like this kind of hose wouldn't push through the pin.
There's nothing
There's
there to
nothing
push. There's gotta be the pin. Okay, so this is the pressure currently inside of here. I'll open that. So you have 2 points of control here. I have this, that, and then I have this. So this is open. So I open my tank. And then this is my regulator that allows me to, okay, so I just shot that in there. Now, if I want, I just want to test the pressure in here. I can close this. Now there's nothing coming through here. And then now I'm looking, now see how the pressure is dropping? This is why I use digital gauges, because I can see the pressure is clearly dropping, right? Then I can use I got spray.
No, this is dropping on this, oh, the temperature.
No, pressure.
Pressure, okay. I'm gonna take this.
Yep.
You put it in water. Let's just say spray.
Maybe the Schrader, the pin's not in all the way.
Well, so see how the pressure, so sometimes it has to settle, but this thing is not very big, so it shouldn't take that long to settle. So see, it's holding now. So maybe it just took a little while to settle.
Yeah.
So it's still, could just be a tiny, tiny little, and this is literally, you'll be in the field, you'll be
Put it in
trying to,
water, sir.
well, so the thing with water, you can't put a whole refrigeration system in water. So you got to try to locate the leak.
I see. You have to have that mindset of.
Yes.
So, up to what
Pressure do you
pressure
go?
do we go?
It depends on the type of refrigerant in the machine. So like a R22 system, you go to 300. With a 410, you might go to 400 or 500.
So it's on the PT chart?
Not on the PT charts on the data plate. So it's a 410A system. So it says on the low side 250, on the high side 450. So we have to, you know, with these systems, whatever you put on the low side is just going to go to the high side. So you have to put 450. But you know, you just want to try and find out. Find, you know.
And this control is,
This is the nitrogen regulator.
oh,
So nitrogen tank, so you got a valve in the tank, you got the regulator, then you have the gauge manifold itself. So what we're trying to do, my gauge, trying to see just a little bubble, just want a little bubble to pop up somewhere. So let me try something like this. I'll crack this a little bit. Well, that's not gonna work. I have a tiny little leak somewhere. Should bubble up. That's my spray it. So just like little, just like that. This little tiny bubble. You see that? See that little bubble right there?
yeah.
Like that's how small the leak could be. So. Now it's holding.
Maybe that's where it was. It wasn't in all the way.
Well, sometimes you have problems with the Schrader pins themselves.
Oh, okay.
So this pin might be defective. Because there should be pressure in here. No, it's holding. Whoa. Yeah. So imagine if that's refrigerant, you get covered with refrigerant. Now,
Yeah, that is.
This one?
But let's play. 170, how much? Yeah, did you release it?
so again, I want to clear out the hose. If it's nitrogen, not refrigerant. Now I can,
What did clear out the hose for up to?
because this hose holds pressure. So, yeah.
You want to check to be?
Oh, there's my pressure. Okay, so it's holding. So what you want to do, what was the pressure when you did it the first time? Because if you put 400 in and now it's at 100, then you know you have a leak. That's what happens with the machines. People, and this is when people don't go through the proper procedure, everything might be working when you leave, and then the client's calling saying it's not working because everything will leak out. You have to make sure everything's going to hold. So we open. So the regulator is still open. So I just pushed in from what was in the regulator. And then I need to close this back. I see it's still going up. So it looks like it's holding because the pressure, now it has to settle So it's just a question of how long does it take to settle? No, it all depends. But if you just have like a consistent drop.
So you have to get used to using the bubble spray on the ground that you need to develop a good eye for. You don't want to have a bucket of water to put a whole system.
Well, imagine like your coils can break. So imagine you're spraying in between your fins trying to find a hole. We're going to do all that stuff.
And what's the normal drop, let's say, depending on the system, there's something like that, or?
It's
The size of the system.
yeah, it's all based on the size of the system.
The hose could have a little leak too, right?
The hose could be like,
What's the percentage?
there's a couple of different things. So you want to put the nitrogen in there. You want to let it settle. Sometimes you could let it settle for a whole day. And then depending upon how much the temperature drops, if the temperature drops, the pressure will go down. If the temperature goes up, pressure could go up. Yeah.
So even the environmental will affect the.
So if you remember when we came to that system over there, we put the gauges on it.
Correct. Yeah.
We saw it was at 69 degrees. The temperature was, the ambient temperature affects the pressure inside the machine. That's how refrigerant works.
So.
Mhm.
Unless there's like a big difference, that means that you don't have any. It can be from the temperature.
You could always have a leak, but usually, if it holds relatively well, then you should be good.
So I heard someone say that when you vacuum it, if it holds a vacuum, it's like you don't really need to leak test it, because it holds a vacuum.
So that could be true, right? So a vacuum test is a leak test. The problem is if it doesn't hold a vacuum, right? Because a vacuum test, because it's sucking in, it won't show you where the leak is at. So you always have to do a pressure test to see if it's leaking, where is it leaking at?
Before you do the vacuum.
So a proper pressure test will be like this, something like this.
Well, no, that's for leak checking.
Leak
So if you
check.
have pressure, you can check the leak, right? Another way, if I'm checking a leak, if the machine has refrigerant, leak detector, the big article. No, the leak detector.
It was the one
The
making
leak
the cool
detector.
sound.
Yeah.
I think.
No, right here. So this should tell me this has refrigerant left in there from earlier. So that's telling you there is a leak. So that's a form of leak testing. In terms of when you're leak testing, there's two things you're trying to figure out. Is it leaking? And then where is the leak? So if the pressure keeps dropping here, then it's telling me it is leaking, but it's not telling me where is the leak. So in order to do that, there's a couple of ways you can do it. So you have your bubble spray. If you see a bubble, there's a leak at that location. You can use yours. It's called an electronic leak detector. So that is telling me, so if I'm sniffing around, right? If I sniff here, there's no leak there. There's a leak right there. But there's also something called a ultrasonic leak detector, because ultrasonic is headphones, it's a microphone. And if the coil is inside of a tank, then I can't even see it, right? So what you have to do is you put the microphone on the side of the thing, you put a pressure inside of it, and then you listen to hear a leaking noise on the inside. That's ultrasonic. And then the other type is a dye, where you put a dye into the machine and then you look for where the black light and try to find the leak.
Is it
They got different colors.
I think it's
Yeah. So with all this stuff, the most important thing is just practice. Practice stuff over and over again. So.
And last week when we were pulling a vacuum in the unit,
Yep.
I forgot to ask.
Mhm.
You were going with the micron gauge.
Mhm.
So you said 500 microns.
500 microns. That's where you want to pull it. Yes.
And can that move? Let's say you're done with vacuum and with the micron gauge.
So if it has to stay at 500 microns.
Okay.
In order to stay at
So-
500.
If the micro moves,
Then you
if the
gotta,
vacuum moves, I know that you.
Yeah.
If the micro moves,
there's a leak, yeah. Yeah. Or not necessarily a leak, it could just be moisture in the machine. So you're supposed to do evacuation after you do the pressure test because you need to remove the moisture. If you don't remove the moisture, it's gonna freeze up inside the machine. So really the 500 microns is about the moisture. If you got a leak and it's stuck in the air, it won't go past 0 PSI. It'll stay at atmospheric pressure.
So that's why you have to wait with the vacuum because it has to like,
Pull out the moisture.
what is it says? It boils up the moisture in
It's
there?
boiling moisture. So the same way we were doing earlier, running a recovery machine, boiling refrigerant. So the recovery machine is boiling refrigerant. The vacuum pump is boiling moisture, boiling water.
So let's say their service is in
Mhm.
the house. And the pressure test. What's the minimum? Because we can live with the date, but what's the minimum for that? Say, okay.
So if you put pressure and what is the minimum pressure you put or what is the minimum it can drop?
Time you have to check.
Some people do it 5 minutes. It all depends on who's doing the work. You know, some guys don't really care. They don't really believe all the stuff is that important. You know, I believe it's important. So, you know, we're going to put as much time as we possibly can. But sometimes the unfortunate thing is the customers saying, like, there are customers who will call somebody's boss and say, this guy's just sitting here.
Yeah.
Because they don't.
That was my point.
Yes.
Because you may lose a customer, right? Because
Well,
they're gonna be like, well, these guys were just killing time.
Well, that's why I was telling you, you have to know the language because you have to be able to explain to the customer. Like these guys have been on job sites. What do? I'm recording videos. I'm taking pictures. I'm communicating with the customer. We're doing this for this reason because 99% of the people in the world don't know anything about this stuff.
Yeah.
Even a lot of people that work in this industry don't know anything about it. So that is the problem with all this stuff. You know, we had a manufacturer just give us like what, 15, 20 pieces of equipment. They all work. The heat pumps, they all work. The problem was two lines and the lines rub together. So when people complain, they just put in a new machine as opposed to just, you know, putting some tape or something. So the problem with that is all that stuff would have ended up on a junk heap somewhere.
Yeah.
And they're gonna, you know, melt it and crush it and do all the stuff, release refrigerant in the atmosphere. And I'm like, we've got to stop doing that stuff. You've got to stop doing that because the refrigerant is bad for the atmosphere, but then also just a waste of time and wasted energy. And the big thing is manufacturers can't even get the parts in the country because of all the supply shortages. So if you need a new machine, you might be waiting 6 months for that. So we have to learn how to keep equipment running. Not to say you're going to keep it forever, but you know, whatever amount of time you need to keep this stuff running is better than what's going on in the world right now. Like we just cannot continue with this stuff. So, you know, understanding this, to me, the language is more important than what we're doing. Just knowing, hey, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. This is the reason for this is the reason for that. You work in Pepsi,
No, I was working with this.
yeah, in Pennsylvania.
No.
But you work in a place they have equipment of some type, right? So a lot of times, the people in the property management side, they don't know all the language. So if a contractor comes in and says, yeah, I'm gonna do this, here's the bill. They just want it done as cheaply as possible. They're not really thinking about the long-term effect of everything that gets done. And a lot of times property managers are in a tough position because they have to save the building owner money. So they'll put off repairs for as long as possible until the thing is literally on its last legs. And they want somebody to come in and do a miracle. And it's like, if you explain to people yes, it's going to take a little more time for us to do it properly. It's going to allow this thing to last a longer period of time and you'll save money in the long run. So this is literally why we do all this stuff, so that people can understand this. It's very, very important that people learn this stuff. Mhm.
Are we gonna have a class for troubleshooting, like how?
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, we gotta get the machines running before we can troubleshoot.
That's why I asked.
Yeah. So guys, we got a couple of minutes, so we got to be careful here. So we're going to take this thing off our brace cloth. So our brace cloth, heat cloth. So we'll do at least one of these.
Not a smaller one.
That's fine. So we're going to take this off. We have to actually take both of them off. So you got to take both of them off. There's going to be a hole on one side. So we'll just do one side. We'll see if we can do both. So on this side, because where this hole is at may not be where we want to put our stem at. So we got to find out where we're going to put our stem. And we can put it in that area as well. So you got to drill a hole, put the stem, we're going to braze it, but it can't hold pressure because there's another hole over here. So this is why when you're doing this stuff, you have to kind of plan out, because heat is going to travel and you don't want to do it in a way where you're going to melt all the parts of the machine. So if we're just going to put in one valve on one side, then we'll probably do both. So do both. So one of you guys, we'll work it out together. Just make sure you don't melt everything, otherwise it's not going to work at all.
Wow. You were working on that all day yesterday? Wow. It looks good. So you took out the condenser from the head too. That's crazy.
So I'm gonna try to get this into the simulator. Hopefully today.
Okay.
Oh, damn it.
You have Unity on that PC over there?
No, but I have it on my Mac. So
Yeah, because I'm gonna go to the city in a little to return those sneakers. But I was thinking about coming back here.
So we're just gonna put a valve, not the center part, right?
it's right up. So you gotta plan it out. You gotta plan the whole thing out.
So, question, like you said, the plan out. So I believe the valve facing this way is gonna be better,
It's up to you.
but we have a hole here, so.
Well, you gotta close the hole. One way or
Can I
another.
raise it? Just
You
raise
have
it
to.
out,
Yeah.
and that's fine.
Yeah.
Right, if I do a good job.
Yeah. So if you think about it, with any piece of equipment, because a lot of times you have to add things onto that equipment, and because sometimes just manufacturers don't think through how you're going to repair things in the real world, and you have to make some kind of adjustments, and then you have to think about, how do I, if you're putting that cover back on here, because that happened to us before, we put the things on, the stems are too high, you can't even close the cover.
Yeah.
So you got to think about, this and that.
That's a good idea to be able to drag stuff onto onto a floor or something.
Yeah, spawning and stuff.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I want to try to mess around with that.
Yep. But imagine every building we do a field trip or something into, we can say, here is some version of your plant. Blow people's minds. I gotta teach you how to use 3D Max. It's very similar to Unity. The thing that I like better about 3D Max is that I can really put things exactly in the location that I want it. So I'll show you what I mean by that. All right, so all of these assets, aside from this condenser, they exist inside of Unity. So what I want to do, I'm going to export all of these into Unity, and then I'm going to open it in Unity, and instead of me trying to rebuild everything from scratch in Unity, the stuff that's in Unity, I'm going to reuse. And I'm just going to switch the things that I need to switch. So I'll show you what I mean by that. Mhm. I don't even know where the cover's at. So with that way, you could just leave it open. Yeah. Let's see. Okay, come around. Okay, now in 3D Max, you have groups. So this is the new condenser that I made. You can open up your groups. So we're here, I can open, and then I can select the parts inside of here. So if I want to hide that, I can see the evaporator coils inside of there. Now, these two discharge lines, I want to add that to that group. So I'm going to close the condenser group, and then I'm going to grab this line. Now, you also have layers. Let's see here. So right now, these two lines are in the chiller layer, and I want to move them to the condenser layer. So that's how I'm making that the active layer. And then I'm going to hit move to the active layer. And do the same thing for that one. So now if I go to so now you see air cooled condenser, so it's on that layer. So if I go and hide the chiller, these parts are now on this layer.
They were before on the chiller?
On the chiller layer. Because I'm going to reuse the chiller that's in Unity. I want to add this to this group, so I'm going to attach. So that's right there. And the other one, I'm going to attach.
Now you're attaching it to the group?
Yes. So now, if I hide this, or if I move it, everything should move. So when I put it into Unity.
So what's the difference between a group and a layer?
A layer is, I can put the parts on a layer. But then a group is if I want to move everything as one. So right now that's not fully attached. Let me see. Detach. Attach. Test that. Is it not? Okay, so this is showing me everything here is attached to this group. Okay.
It's the air-proof connector.
Yes. So if I want to, I can open the group and then I can select the individual parts in the group. Close it back. So I want everything to be all one group so that when I put it into the other thing, it'll be as one thing. Matter of fact, I got to change some of these names. So I'm gonna open here. So the base, that's the bottom, the coil is inside. What is that? What? Oh, so that's the name of the group. So if you look here, how it has the different shapes. Okay, so I'm gonna call that. So that's the group itself. And you'll see what happens when I put that in the unit. This is discharge line 1. This is discharge line 2. Because when I put it in a unit, it's going to keep all those names. And holder, fan motor, corner box, floor, floor. Liquid header, top. Okay, so those are the names that I want. So I'm going to close the group. Air handler. And my chiller. Okay. This is that. Now, the chiller, the pump, most of the stuff I'm not even going to use. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do inside of Unity. So I'm not even going to use this in Unity. I'm just trying to put it into the location that I want it in Unity. Okay, so I'm going to save this. And then I'm going to export the model so that I can bring it into Unity. So all of these, air-cooled chiller, air handler, condenser, chill water pump, expansion tank. So what I'm doing is I put everything into a grid pattern so that that is the location that I want the things to be in Unity. And then I'm going to export. Oh, snap. I need to do them separately. Let's see. Export selected. It's not letting me do this. Selected. Ah, crap. Come on. Why are you not letting me do export select? Oh, duh. So I need to select them. So my arrow, now they're selected. I should be able to do export selected. Okay, so let me see. I don't want to do them all as one. I want to do them separately. So okay, so you see? Get a shirt. So I'm going to export them individually. Okay, so air cool. Okay, so I'm exporting it as FBX. That's a model that Unity can import. Okay. So we're just going through the whole thing, get some warnings sometimes. Okay. So I did my condenser. I want to do my chiller. So the reason why I'm using them separately is I'm not, when I get to Unity, I'm not keeping all of these. There are versions in Unity I can just use, so I'm just going to reuse those. All right, so I just exported all my models. I'm gonna go over to Unity. Okay, so this is Oliver just made a update here, so I'm gonna import his updates. I think he did the. So remember the scripts with the drawing stuff. So Oliver fixed that stuff. So let's see if we can try that out. Whoa, that's interesting. Interesting.
What, like how it's not even?
Yeah. Oh, boy. Plug the surface. Uh-oh. There's a problem. Thank you. Boy, boy, boy. I think we're crashing here.
Turn it out. Yeah, we probably trust that.
Okay.
So don't move it. Don't move the stick until it starts to melt. You need to melt the stick. Right. Yeah. So if you if you put the stick on there, the stick is gonna stick to the metal, and if you pull it, you can actually pull the metal onto yourself.
have to wait for the right temperature. Wait, that's the temperature.
So we can't really have this like this because then it'll.
No.
No.
I had it.
Oh, you got a system?
And I CRISPR.
So you hold it, you're waiting. You see that? You're waiting for the metal, the brazing rod to melt itself. And then you're kind of painting. See that? So I'm trying to heat the metal here, but then also heat the brazing rod so that it goes into a molten state so that I can apply it using the solid brazing rod. So it's like the rod is the stick, but it's also the paint. Yeah, so yeah. Okay, let's see. Okay. That's interesting. Not sure why it's. Working. Okay. Something was missing. Something in the code was missing. Interesting. Said something was missing. I'm not sure where. All right, let's see if this works. Whiteboard. Ah! Okay, so it works. Everything's cool. The only thing is the whiteboard is open. The white background is open. I don't want it like that. I want this to be an overlay. So if we're looking at the 3D scene, then we can, if I want to take some notes or something like that, I can put that on top of the 3D scene. So let's see where that's at. Okay, where's that gonna be? White for whatever. I'll figure that out later. So now I want to put the new 3D thing in here, right? So I have the older scenes. So I'm just going to make a copy of that. So I want to reuse all this stuff, right? Save that. So reset. So we'll do 3D air cool. Sure. No reset. 3D air cool reset. So this is, oh snap. Damn it. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. All right, so I'm gonna go to my 3D ad. 3D. Oh, reciprocating plant. So we'll pack that up. and then you'll pick up on Wednesday. So let's get a container for that, and then we'll just put Wednesday morning. So we'll put Monday, Wednesday, 10 to 1. So we know that's the unit we started with this class. So for the evening class, we'll have a separate unit. Huh? No, we'll pick up exactly from where we left off here. Yes, sir.
The next classes, because so I can prepare myself for that, like that. I have better questions for that, and I'm prepared.
Yeah. So we have a couple of issues. Number one, the controls were removed from there. So if we want to actually run it, we got to do the controls over. It has a schematic on the top, so we have to see how it's supposed to be wired up, and we'll figure out some type of new control. And then with this one, so we started putting one valve on there. We'll put another valve on there. We'll do our pressure test, charging, see if we can get it to run. And then we'll see if we can put a TV, put different things on there. So, from the mechanical aspect, you want to feel comfortable enough if there's some type of machine, either in your home or your job, that you can say, hey, I know I can, do this. But then on the control side, feeling comfortable about doing the wiring and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
That's one thing. I think like control stuff, wiring,
your weak
because
point?
I have no problem before, so I'm okay with like this kind of stuff.
Yep.
Electrical,
Okay.
I need to get myself better.
Yeah.
That's why.
So starting Wednesday, we'll start doing more of that.
Ensure that doesn't have the control.
Yeah.
Good.
I didn't even realize they took the controls out, so we got to figure that out. Yeah.
All right.
Yes, sir.
See you
Yes, sir. Okay, sorry. Okay, so if you look here, this is, that's our new plant. So we have assets in there already. We have the those other stuff. We got our cooling towers and all that. We're not using any of that stuff. So I can go in here and get rid of most of that. I can build it for now. I'm going to keep one pump. All that. All that. So I'm keeping the expansion tank. I'm keeping one of the chillers. The cooling towers. I don't need any of the cooling towers. And I got the air handler and the boiler. I'm getting with the boiler. Okay. So tools, I'm gonna hide the tools. I don't need that right now. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna import the new models. So I go to models. And import new asset. Models. So these new ones that I created here. Import them. Okay, now I just imported these models, right? If I drag them, I'm going to drag them over here to the hierarchy. They should have the same coordinates that they had in 3D Max. So I'll take these, I'll put them in the hierarchy. Boom.
Nice.
So they're in the same exact location that they were in 3D Max. But here's the thing. This air handler, I'm not keeping this one because I already have one that's in there and the color is already set up. Everything's, if you look at the whole list of assets, everything's already set up. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab the old one. So that's the old one right there. And I'm going to try to line it up with this one. So
It's a different, it looks different on the inside? The
no,
model?
same one.
Same thing?
So it's just the older version of the one that I had before. So let's see. Zero. So see it just lined up almost. So when I moved it over. So if I get the location of the new one, so 0x, 0y minus 10. So 0x, 0y minus 10. So it's almost directly on top of it. It's just the rotation is off. So minus 90, minus 90, minus 90, minus 90, same location. The only thing that's different is I think it's more stuff on top of it. So I just gotta, there's some other stuff here. Oh, that's collider. 1, 1, 1, 1. So it's, I think it's almost in the right location. So I just gotta go here and like things like the ducts. I don't need ducts. Ducts is how it goes. It's off. This is off a little bit. I'm not sure why. You see, it's a little front forward of the other one. I'm not sure why, but it's not a big deal. I can. Sure when this is off, but all right, let's go. So a lot of these lines, I'm not going to be using condensate line. Select here. Because what I'm going to do is make new lines in 3D Max. Okay, so I got that right there. So the same thing. This is the new chiller, but I'm not using that chiller. I'm going to use the old chiller. So the old chiller right here. So you do it. So line up the old chiller with the new chiller, and then line up the old chill water pump with the new chill water pump, and line up the old expansion tank with the new expansion tank.
Because they have the scripts on them, right?
Kind of. We're actually going to change out the scripts, but the bigger thing is the materials. So if you look here, so if I select this expansion tank right there, there's a mesh render on it and it has this default material. But if you look at this expansion tank right there, it has a Unity material on it. So we just want to preserve that more importantly. So the big thing is we have to develop a system that will allow us to use the current assets that we build. So we're going to build assets, but if we want to create a new whatever, we have to be able to do it quickly. So that's the big thing. All right, so line those up, please. Boy.